This is the Misfit Vegan Podcast, episode 533. There are so many podcasts I'd like to make. I'd like to do a lot more guided visualizations, meditations. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I get a lot of questions every day. And most of them are pretty much the same question. Okay, how can I eat raw in the winter? What do I think about fat? Is it okay to eat overt fat? And then this next one is very, very popular as well. So I'm going to answer this question so that I could send it to the 6 people that have asked me this today alone. Okay, so here we go. Hi, I don't have a YouTube channel, so I came here to ask you. I saw you using frozen fruit from the freezer in your last video, but what would you say about it apparently not being raw because the fruit is almost always blanched before being frozen, which is basically boiling the fruit for a few minutes before freezing to kill the enzymatic process to prevent undesirable changes in flavor, texture, color, etc. I used to always buy frozen fruit until I read about that. But do you think that's a valid concern? I know for a fact that this person cannot be raw. And you don't have to be raw to be healthy. But I have a hunch that this person isn't even healthy. Honestly. There are limits, and no offense to you. And if you are raw and you're not eating frozen fruit, then here you go. Here's a raw vegan cookie, okay? Congratulations. There is slim to no chance that you can live a completely natural life in this extremely unnatural world. I know only one person on this fucking earth that is actually a raw vegan, like for real. And I'm not one of them, okay? Because yes, I do eat frozen fruit, not every day, but almost every day, okay? So the only person on this earth that I know that doesn't eat frozen fruit, that is 100% like fruitarian, no nuts, no fucking cashews, which we all know are not raw. The only person on this earth that I know for sure is Ann Osborne. I know her personally. We've met many times. I just spoke to her today. She's one of my biggest mentors. She's actually a friend of mine now. And we used to run the Woodstock Fruit Festival together. She has retired from that. And now she is spending her full time tending to her garden in Australia, where she gets most of her produce. Okay, so she grows most of her fruit. And she still buys some vegetables in the store and food for her husband in the store. But most of her fruit, she's growing. And I know she's raw. I have hung out with her. I have made her a smoothie. It was just mangoes, no frozen fruit. And if you can be Ann Osborne, then be Ann Osborne. She lives in Australia. She has an organic fruit farm, and that's the goal for a lot of you guys. However, if you're living in the real world, I highly suggest you consume fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds in their raw, organic, cold-pressed, frozen, steamed, baked, or sautéed version. Okay? In any capacity. This is what I recommend. But you do you. This is just my podcast, so I'm allowed to say my opinion here. On your podcast is a good place for your opinion. So if you differ, if you're saying, oh no, frozen fruit is not raw, or oh no, you can't have steamed kale, or you can't eat a steamed banana or baked apples if you're raw, that is unrealistic. That is truly unrealistic, especially if you live in a cold climate. If you're living in Canada, if you're living in Minnesota, if you're living in I don't even know. Fucking where is it? Antarctica. I'm trying to think of the states in the United States that are cold. Up there. If you're living in Chi-Town, if you're living in fucking freezing cold places, okay? It's not exactly realistic for you to be 100% raw 365 days a year. You can do it. I did it in New York City for 9 years, but I did not enjoy it. And I wish that I wasn't so hard-headed, because if I was smarter, I would have had steamed broccoli, or not broccoli. I don't like broccoli. I would have had steamed and or baked apples, or purple potatoes or bananas. I would have had steamed bananas. Yeah, for sure. Steamed kale, spinach. I would have had warm food, personally. I don't think it's smart to force yourself to eat nice cream when what you're really craving is a sweet potato. You know what I mean? Or soup, because it's so goddamn cold out. And of course, you don't have to have nice cream. You can have dehydrated foods. You can warm up your food in the dehydrator. You can have a salad, which doesn't have to be freezing. You know, you take your produce out about an hour before you make it, and you make your salad. But for argument's sake, nothing's going to be as warm and satisfying as cooked food in the wintertime. I understand that. And so if you don't want to eat cooked food, healthy cooked food, then maybe you want to have some tea. You always want to have some tea. Or you can make a date latte, which is dates, ginger, cinnamon, and some hot water in the blender. And it's fucking delicious. Makes your whole house smell amazing too. So that's what I would recommend if you really want to stay raw. But otherwise, it's not something you should be doing if it's making you miserable and it's driving you crazy. And this whole frozen fruit debate, it's not your fault, so don't take this personal to the people, you and the other 5 people that have asked me this question. It's a very silly question, because yes, they are definitely blanched before freezing them, but you're not raw anyway, so what are you worried about, boo? Because those cashews are impossible to be raw. Raw cashews are poisonous. You can't eat raw cashews. It's not possible. Even the cashews that say raw cashews are not raw cashews. Please understand that. Fully raw, Christina, is not raw, because cashews cannot be harvested raw. They must be heated to be extracted from the shell. No joke. Look it up. Look it up, boo. Fully raw, and I'm not talking about Christina, okay? Just, that's her name, right? Let's not say fully. Let's say 100% raw is a myth. It's a fucking myth. What you can do is you can do the best you can. And if you don't want to eat frozen fruit because they're blanched, which means they're dipped in hot water, then boo, do you. You don't have to eat frozen fruit. I know that they are blanched. I'm okay with it because I don't have my own fruit farm, so I'm not exactly rolling in the organic strawberries, blueberries, cherries, mangoes, all the frozen fruit that I buy. If I had it outside to pick it and eat it, I would do that. Also, it's super expensive to buy berries fresh, and it's way cheaper to buy them frozen, honestly. So my best advice for frozen fruit is to definitely eat it if you want, and if you don't eat it. But then don't be upset that you can't stay raw, because frozen fruit for me personally is my backup food. Okay. It's also my enjoyment food, because I love smoothie bowls and nice cream. But to be honest, I do prefer fresh, ripe, juicy, delicious fruit and vegetables. However, I like to treat myself to nice cream a lot and smoothie bowls a lot. And I also need to have backup food. And my backup food used to be dried fruit, but now it's frozen fruit. And I also eat peas as well a lot. I like frozen peas, and I just defrost them. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yes, they are definitely blanched. Yes, the enzymes are lower for sure. Because of course, if you put something in the freezer, you're killing it. Like, just think about the temperature in the freezer. If I put you in the freezer, you're dead. So yeah, the food is half dead for sure. I gotta be okay with that until I have the resources and the opportunity to eat 100% fresh organic produce from my farm. And that's the truth. And if we are, and again, it's not personal to you, but if we are nitpicking, we're going to fail. Okay. There's just so many things that we can do perfect on the raw food diet. And just know, I hope this makes you feel better. I hope you don't, oh my God, people are so petty and annoying that somebody's probably going to email Fully Raw Christina and be like, Ms.FitVegan was talking shit about you. I'm not talking shit about Christina. I've never met her. I'm sure she's amazing. She's inspired me so much. But the words fully raw, kind of a joke. And I mean, personally, I would never choose that as my brand, fully raw, because one, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It doesn't fucking exist. Okay? And two, oh, what if one day I want to have some steamed kale? Like, that's not healthy. Like, that's not allowed on a raw food diet. All the raw foodists that I know in person, again, I've never met Christina, but I've met a lot of raw foodists, okay? A lot. And most of them have steamed fruit and vegetables sometimes. I'm just saying. I have a friend who's been 25 years raw, and I was with her 2 weeks ago, and she had steamed vegetables in her salad every night. She ate fruit all day. She had a big salad with steamed veggies. You know, that's just what she's doing right now. And I don't see anything wrong with it. And I know every single, person that I've met in person that's raw and healthy eats healthy cooked food, meaning the food is made of fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. I know people that are raw that are falling off the fucking wagon. These YouTubers and these gurus, these raw vegan gurus, they're always falling off the wagon eating junk vegan food, okay? So would you rather be a raw foodist that's falling off the wagon all the time, eating crappy vegan food, Oreos and shit? Or would you rather be a raw foodist that once in a while allows themselves to have a baked apple because they're miserable on the raw food diet and it's the middle of winter and they're freezing cold and they're really unhappy? Like, would you rather, what kind of raw foodist would you be? And if you don't need to eat cooked food and you're loving the raw food diet, then keep doing you, boo. That's what I do. But if you're miserable on a raw food diet in the middle of winter, have some steamed vegetables. How many fucking times do I have to say it? And if you can't afford to eat, like pick your own strawberries and blueberries, then have some frozen fruit. And no, it's not raw, but you were never raw to begin with. Because you're eating cashews and other fucking nuts and seeds that were not raw. What are you going to do? Most of the tahini out there is not raw. Most of the chocolate out there is not raw, but it says raw. The word raw is not regulated by the FDA. The word natural, the word healthy, these words are not regulated. They mean nothing to the FDA. You can put raw on anything. Did you know that? There's these oh my gosh. Okay, there's these raw desserts. It's called Hail Mary. And they're in Whole Foods in the freezer section. They are not raw, but they say raw on them. But there's ingredients in there that are definitely not raw. And I know for a fact they're not raw because I know the owner of that company. Okay? And I used to buy from her. Her name's Mary. And they were never raw. So, yeah. I don't know, guys. Do your best. Do the best you can. Focus on being 100% healthy as opposed to 100% fully raw. Because that's impossible. I personally, I'm going to change my shit to being a healthy vegan because saying I'm raw vegan, it causes a lot of nonsense in my life, to be honest. A lot of people asking me or telling me that I'm not raw because I had a roasted tahini once or many times, many times. I had cashews, I had this, I had that, I have frozen fruit, it's not raw. Okay, I don't see any problems with fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. So, sue me. Love you guys, thanks for listening. Progress over perfection. Strive for progress, not perfection. It's not really possible. I promise. I tried and I was miserable. And I also fucked up my teeth because instead of eating healthy cooked food, healthy fruit and vegetables, like, healthy cooked food, I was so limited in what I could eat that I ate a shit ton of dates and dried fruit, and it fucked up my teeth. So I would recommend you don't do that. Frozen fruit for the win over fucking Doritos. You feel me, boo? I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.